Hey, so I I don't really know where to start with all of this. I'm gonna try to make this quick because my parents are out right now. And I am sitting in their fifth wheel camper trailer, which is where I am currently staying. There is another smaller, like little RV over here, which is what I'm gonna be staying in once it's all cleaned out and everything. Um, but I did have to leave the Denver area. Um, Things got bad, and then when I got out here, I found out that Cheryl had taken everything I owned and thrown it away. So I have no winter coat. I have, um, like, no shoes, no food, no pants. I have no bed, all of my beads, all of my crochet stuff, all of the things that I used as outlets for my anxiety, it's all gone. And she was texting with my mom saying that I didn't know who my true friends were, and she was obviously a true friend because she tried to help me. Meanwhile, she's extorting me for all this money and then taking all of my stuff and throwing it away, which maybe I'm wrong, but that doesn't seem to me like any kind of friend. But I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. Um, But I had a complete breakdown realizing that everything I had worked for was just gone. And so I had to go to inpatient treatment. I'm sorry that my camera is like shaking a lot. It's sitting on my lap in a trailer and the wind blows and the wind like shakes the trailer. So it's like shaking my laptop. I'm trying. I'm really trying. Um, but yeah, so I had to go to inpatient treatment and being that the next largest town over is Alamosa, there isn't really a behavioral health center that is equipped for things like inpatient treatment. So I spent the day in a regular medical hospital, and then I was transferred to a place near Denver. And it was very different from other inpatient stays that I'd had. Like the one in Florida, like, you weren't allowed to eat, you weren't allowed to go to the bathroom, you weren't allowed to ask questions, you weren't allowed to, raise concerns, nothing. This one, it's like it's really group focused. I'm actually gonna put my laptop on this little step stool down here so I can sit on the floor and see if that makes a difference because I can't stand looking at the constant shaking, and I'm sure you guys can't either. Okay. I'm, like, tangled in cords right now. Also, my hair has just completely fried and dried out, which I will get to in a minute. But with this inpatient treatment place that I went to, it was very group focused. So a lot of what you did throughout the day was groups, different kinds of groups. So you would go to experiential therapy, which is therapy where you have an experience or something. I don't fully understand. Um, but on my last day there, which was actually my discharge day, um, the therapy that we did was slacklining. So there was like a 12-foot like slacklining rig just set up on the floor in this room. We did music therapy, so we talked about like um, positive and negative relationships and how they're portrayed in music and stuff like that. And it was like the weirdest thing. Um, And then we would have like nursing group where we would talk about medications, we would talk about side effects, we would talk about like questions we had about medications, things like that. I just wanted to know why some medications you can't have grapefruit. That was pretty much all all I asked. Um then there were communication groups. Um there was a group on like different communication styles and stuff like that. So none of it was actually really that helpful for me personally because so when I first got there, I was on the 3rd floor, which is like the ICU, and then the kids ward, and then the rest of the adults are on the 2nd floor. So when I first got there, a lot of their groups were about like hygiene and about like, you know, eating and things like that, like things that you wouldn't necessarily think that you need to tell an adult to do. Um, but for some people who have um like really, really severe depression, schizoaffective disorders, and things like that, they're put into the ICU because they need more care. And then for me, um I was moved because mine was PTSD related, so I wasn't really getting anything out of being on the 3rd floor, so I got moved to the 2nd floor. Groups are the same, food is the same, like, everything's the same. It's just the 2nd floor does things an hour earlier, so it goes kids, adults on the 2nd floor, adults on the 3rd floor. Um, so a lot of the groups on the 2nd floor were more geared towards, like, communication and things like that. I personally, for me, did not get anything out of these groups, out of these communication groups or dietary groups or whatever. They had cinema therapy, so you would sit and like watch a movie. So they were watching Infinity War, but I can't watch movies because it triggers my PTSD. So I had to like explain to 4 different nurses and like 2 BHAs why I couldn't watch movies. And it's like, I'm not refusing to go to group. I'm just not choosing to participate in group because it is not helpful for me personally. So I sat and I read books most of the time that I was there. Um, they put me on some medications, which I didn't want to be on medications anyways. And it turns out that Medicaid doesn't want to pay for certain psychiatric medications anyways. So what I was prescribed, I don't even have access to. So that's nice. It's like, oh, here's this medication that you could take that could fix your problems, help you out a whole bunch. Oh, just kidding. You don't get anything. And it's like, okay, cool. So here's square one. Here's what it looks like. Thanks for nothing. They do have dietary like differences, I guess. I don't really know how to put it, but if you have like diabetes, or for me, I have to eat gluten free, or some people are lactose intolerant, they like help you figure all that out when you're in the cafeteria. So they have like up on a whiteboard like what today's meal is, and it says like under the gluten free stuff, it would say what I could have. So I would know by the time I got up there what I could have. I ate a lot of muffins because muffins on the outside are very expensive. They're like $4 a piece. So I ate a lot of muffins. Um, but yeah, they had like gluten-free pasta and stuff like that, which was nice because I was really concerned that it was going to be like inpatient in Florida where there's literally nothing that I can eat. Like I could not eat in that building. Like there was nothing for me. Um, so it was very different this time around to have food that I could eat, but during my stay there, we found out that I have ulcers, and so I really couldn't eat anything anyways. Um, so there was that. Um, they got me in touch with a therapist, um, so I can go to therapy because that's what I need. That's what the treatment for PTSD is lots of therapy. They put me on Prazosin, I think. It's like a heart medication that's used um, to help with PTSD nightmares. So I do have access to that one. I don't have access to Pristique, which is the um, anti-anxiety, antidepressant thing that they had put me on, um, which is fine, I guess, because I really didn't want to be on medications anyways. But I saw my therapist yesterday. I did intake a couple of days ago, saw my therapist yesterday, and then had my initial intake with her. And then next week, I have to go back and do my first, like, treatment plan kind of meeting, and she said that'll only take, like, 10 or 15 minutes, but she allots an hour of time. So she's like, if we need to talk about some things, like we can talk about some things. But her office makes me really uncomfortable because the last therapist that I went to in Wheat Ridge, her office, like you go in and there's like, she has a big comfy chair and her patient, client, whatever you want to call it, gets a big comfy chair. This office, it's like there's one tiny little chair and it's kind of off into a corner, and then there's like this big huge desk, and then she has her chair on the other side, so you're kind of like separated from the desk or by the desk, so there's not really like there's face-to-face interaction, but it's different because there's like a barrier there. So it's not really the same. Um so there's that. That's why I haven't been responding to anything over the last week, because I've been in treatment. I hate going to treatment. More than any part of having any kind of mental illness, I hate inpatient treatment. I hate it so much because it's scary and you don't know what's going on, and everybody just kind of assumes that you know what's going on, but nobody wants to like tell you anything, and you have to like beg for information. And then the things that you're prescribed, your insurance may or may not cover when you're out. So there's no way for you to know until you are out whether or not you're going to be able to continue your treatment. And it's just all very stressful. So there's that. That's the whole update, the whole thing. I found out that the way that Cheryl like did with all of my things, like throwing it all away, the process that she chose to do is actually an illegal eviction in Colorado. Um, so they were not kidding. By her touching my stuff, it became a criminal offense in the sense that it was an illegal eviction because she took all of my belongings and threw them away. Legally speaking, that's still my address. Like I can still go to that address and use it for job applications or whatever, because that's like there was never a formal eviction process that was done. So I could technically still go back there and still live there. And there's nothing she could do until she got a proper eviction done, because I was living there and collecting mail there for more than 6 months. So I do have to go, I have to find a lawyer first that deals with illegal evictions, and then go from there. And because finding out that all of my belongings were thrown away is what sent me into a complete breakdown. There's a lot of like mental anguish, emotional distress kind of things that could be tacked on to it. So there's a mess that she got herself into right there. But I don't really want to focus on that when it comes to stuff like on my channel, just because I did do that video with her that I did delete, because I don't want to promote her business on my channel. I don't want to promote an evil person on my channel. I did not know at the time that I did that video that she was that kind of person, but then the way that she did, the way that she chose to do everything, the fact that she discriminated so heavily against my mental illness and against my treatment is another thing that will more than likely get her in trouble. So there's a lot going on right now. And I saw some people say, "Oh, well, you can move back with your parents, and maybe you're using hyperbole when you say that there's nothing around for miles." Literally, there's nothing around for miles. I'm not kidding. When I get moved into my other trailer, I'll show you guys. Um, but there is quite literally nothing for miles. The closest thing is a tiny, tiny, tiny little town called Center. And the only things there's like a gas station, a Family Dollar, a Family General, and like a Mormon church. That's the town. That's the whole town. That's it. There's nothing else there. I think there's like a handful of people that live there, but mostly this area is like farmers. a lot of farmers who have been around here for a very long time. Up the road a little ways, there is like a recreational dispensary. Back in the other direction, there's a tiny, tiny little town called Villa Grove. And on one side, there's like a little restaurant with a little like storefront that has like this much stuff. And then on the other side, there's like a like pottery place or whatever. That's the town. Like, I'm not kidding. There's nothing around for miles. The closest like significant place near me is Alamosa, and it's an hour away. There's like a Walmart, there's a Kroger store. It's called City Market, I think. There's a Safeway, there's some gas stations, there's like a brand new Starbucks. It's like, yeah, there's stuff, but it's like an hour away. And so to drive to and from an hour away for job interviews and maybes and things like that, it's stressful because I have like this much money to last me this much time, and I don't know if anyone's going to hire me, but I've been putting in job applications. I've worked for Kroger before when I was in Alaska, and I really, really liked it. They take really good care of their people, and I wouldn't mind like working for them again, just doing like cashier stuff. I actually really like doing cashier stuff. Like, I know that sounds stupid where people are like, I want to work at McDonald's when I grow up, but it's like I actually really liked being a cashier because there's people interaction, but it's very limited, even though you're a cashier. So what it is like you have someone come through your line and they're in your line for like 3 minutes tops, right? And then they go through and then they're gone. And then you don't see them again for a while. And then you have the next person. So it's like a revolving door, but you never spend too much time with any one person. So you're able to, like, I don't know, not feel like stuck talking to one person, because at my other job, I would sit there and I would spend like a half hour with somebody just talking about like this and that. And I'm like, okay, I have to go now. Bye. And like they would never actually like let you leave. Like all of a sudden they have like 14 more questions. They want to tell you about their grandkids and their dog and their neighbor and whatever else. But I'm really, 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 really hoping that I can get a cashier job with Kroger again, because I really enjoyed it. Um, so there's that. My life is not, it's not stable. It's not that exciting. It's not, I don't feel that it's improving. I think a lot of people would look at it and be like, well, you're not in that situation anymore. You're not in this situation anymore. And it's like, yeah, you're right. I'm not. But I'm not in a good place either. So there's that. Like, it's really hard to constantly be knocked down to the bottom, and then every time you start to like get a little ways up, you get thrown right back down, and then you kind of start to crawl back up, and then you get thrown right back down. Like, my only goals in life really are to just live above the poverty line. That's it. Like, that's my life goal at 28 years old, is to live above the poverty line. That is tragic. That is really, really sad. The fact that my life on paper, like, oh, she has a GED. Oh, she has an associate's degree. Wow. But she still lives under poverty. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And I've considered like going back to school for different things, but I don't know what I would go for, because I feel like I just don't have the skills for anything. I feel like I don't have the qualifications for anything. I feel like I wouldn't be good at anything. And maybe that's just like all of the depression and stuff, because like during intake they were like, what are some of your skills? And I'm like, I don't have any. Oh, what are some things you enjoy? Nothing. So there's that, which I know isn't very helpful, and I'm not trying to like, you know, be rude about anything, but really that's how I feel about it. And they're not asking me how other people think or feel or whatever about me. They're asking, how do I feel about me? And the fact is, I don't have skills. I don't have anything I enjoy. I don't find happiness in day-to-day life. I just don't. So there's that. Like, I don't feel like the therapy that I've gone to has done me any good. I don't feel like the 40 something medications I've been on have ever done me any good. And like, I know that there's some people that it works for and everything, but for me personally, I just feel like it's not helping. Like, there's no treatment that I've done so far that I feel has helped at all. And I keep going and I keep doing the things I need to do, but I just don't feel like it's working. And my mom's like, "Well, you have to go in with an open mind." Okay, well, I went in with an open mind when I was 19 and I came out with a drug problem. So there's that. Like, that didn't help at all. They just kept giving me benzos, like, repeatedly benzos. And then I wish I still had this bottle. They were giving me 90-day supplies of Ativan at a time. And the only reason I wish I had the bottle was to prove like there was 90 days worth of Ativan in this bottle. And I'm just sitting there popping them like Skittles, trying not to feel anything because I was feeling everything too much, didn't know what to do. So, like, I went in with an open mind thinking I'm finally going to get help. Came out with a drug problem. Super. That didn't help at all. Like, went into inpatient thinking I'm going to come out and I'm going to be kind of okay and I'm going to be able to, like, have doctors and go to therapy and have the resources that I've been begging for over a decade. Nope. Spent the whole week in group doing nothing and it was pointless. So I feel very, very alone in the situation. I feel very sad and I don't really know where to go from here. But this is kind of why I started my channel in the first place, was to let you guys know, like, this is the reality. This is my reality of having mental illness and not really getting answers. And I thought they were going to do like a full evaluation while I was in there. Nope. All they said was PTSD by history and you're very obviously depressed. Like, okay, thank you, Karen. I really appreciate you telling me that because obviously anybody who lost everything, including their emotional support animal, like within the span of 2 weeks, anybody would be upset about that stuff. But thank you for your oh so deep insight into why I'm sad. Like, okay, thanks. They said I might have borderline personality disorder, but they just left it at unspecified bipolar disorder, PTSD by history, and generalized anxiety. Okay, but when you've been in a depression for over a year, I don't think that really, like, slides into the qualification of being just a normal bipolar downswing. I think there's something else going on, but they didn't do a full evaluation because I already had a diagnosis. So they just asked, like, a handful of questions and they're like, "Oh, yeah, you're sad about stuff. You have depression." Okay, but, like, what are you doing for it then? Like, how are you helping me? Because the medication you prescribe me, I can't get. They need prior authorization, but the doctor that gave me the medication is not my normal doctor. So they're like, "Oh, well, then that's just not gonna happen. So it's gonna be $300 if you wanna pick it up today." So I'm unemployed, technically homeless, and you're asking me for $300 to fill a prescription. No. 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 It's not gonna happen. Like, I just have to go without. Like, it's ridiculous. So, yeah. That's the whole spiel. I've not been, like, avoiding people on purpose. I've not been, like, trying to, like, make people think there's more wrong with me than what there really is. I've not been, you know, blowing things up to be more dramatic than they are or anything like that. Like, this is reality and it really fucking sucks. Like, that's just how it is. Nothing I can do about it besides just keep riding the wave and hoping that something someday will come along and I won't be like this forever. But honestly, there are more animals on this property than there are people. Because there's a dog. There's a dog. There's like horses back here. There's like chickens back here. There's another dog over here. And like this area, there's more animals than people. Which is nice because I don't have to like talk to people or be in people-y situations, but you can't really have the whole get married, have kids, live happily ever after scenario if there's more animals in your town than people, and all the people in your town are probably all cousins. So there's that, because everybody out here seems to know everybody else, and it's really uncomfortable because I went to a gas station and everybody was staring at me all stupid, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, so I walk with a cane, and maybe that's why they were staring, trying to figure out, like, wow, that young and got a cane. Okay, maybe, but it also was like whisper, 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 do 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 do, because everybody just seemed to know everybody. It was very uncomfortable. I don't like living out here. This is probably my least favorite place to live so far. Like, Denver's not much better, but at least there's, like, people watching, like, prime 16th Street Mall people watching. That's a good time. Out here, there's, like, nothing. And I wish I was making that up. Like, I wish I was making that up. But there's nothing that I can do about it. So, I'm gonna go. I'm tired of all my videos being so long, but I feel like all I do is just sit here and ramble, and people are like, "Do it again!" And I'm like, "I don't know how." Like, it's a weird cycle. We're all part of it. Like, it's very strange. The medicine they prescribe me, one is called Pristiq. It's an antidepressant, anti-anxiety. That's at least what I was told. The other is Prazosin, which is a heart medication that's used to treat PTSD nightmares. So yeah, they gave me like Prilosec for the ulcers, Macrobid because I had like a UTI. They gave me vitamin C to help with the uptake of the iron because I'm anemic. Like, there's just all these problems. So I'm just falling apart, and I'm like not even 30. Like, I'm basically 104. And it's very sad. It's very, very sad. So anyhow, I'm gonna go. I just wanted to pop on here real fast and let you guys know what was going on, because I read the comments on my last video and everybody seemed really concerned, and I didn't mean to like scare anybody or anything like that. Just like a quick little, hey, how's it going? Also, as far as the dissociation goes, they're like, yeah, that's normal. Like, anyone who has been through like traumatic events or anything like that, like, yeah, that's normal. And I was like, that's not helpful information, but thank you. So I'll just keep doing that then. Apparently there's no help or treatment or anything like that for just dissociation. But I have been talking to my therapist about like housing resources and about job resources, and she said same thing everybody's told me. There's a program out here called PATH, which is like they help people with mental illness find housing and things like that. It can be like subsidized housing, low income, however you want to put it. But I don't qualify for that because I don't have a job. So as soon as I get a job, I will qualify for PATH. I will hopefully qualify for PATH, and then be able to get into my own space and be able to go from there. But anywho, I'm gonna go. I keep saying I'm gonna go, and I keep not going. Hi. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything, I'm happy to answer them. It might just take me a little while because I do really need to focus on myself. And when I say myself, I mean like myself. I was using like beads to help, like jewelry making. I was using crochet to help. I was using like coloring books and stuff like that to help, but all of those are gone now. So I don't really have anything to cope, and I'm just getting like kind of stir crazy because it's not like I can just like hop in my truck and go to like Starbucks and just hang out, get an ice water and just like exist. I can't go to Barnes and Noble because there isn't one out here. Like, I would have to have a purpose for going into town because it's an hour away and that's a lot of gas. So yeah, like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions or anything that you guys have. And hopefully at some point I'll be able to build my life back up from this. And I'm never going to be that person who's like, hey, MTV, welcome to my crib, and be like, here's my mansion or whatever. Be like, hey guys, look, I have a studio apartment. But yeah, I like I said before, I want this to turn into one of those, like, really happy stories with a really happy ending, but so far, it's not really looking like it will. Yeah. I'm gonna go eat some ice cream because today was Brace's tray changing day and my mouth hurts really bad. In case you're wondering why my face is all poofed out and whatnot. Um, yeah, I've had a migraine in the same spot for the last 7 years, so the dissociation could be related to that, but I've had all kinds of scans and tests and stuff done, and they haven't found anything, so I don't necessarily think that it is neurologically related. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'll keep you guys updated because I don't know why people seem so interested, but it's nice to feel like there's at least some kind of support here because I don't have it from my family and I don't really have it from my friends either. So being able to come on here and see like love and support from people, like it's helpful in a weird way. But anywho, I'm gonna go and I will see you guys later. Bye.